What is up, YouTube? Thought of the day number 4. Why do I use the BikeErg or bike in general, cycling to test CrossFit athletes? That's a question I get quite a bit, and it's something that I wasn't so sure about when I started working with CrossFitters and physiological testing. Trying to think of specificity, trying to think of the best ways to test an athlete in their given sport. But what I noticed through many months of testing CrossFit athletes now and giving them their results in terms of calibrating their training zones and orienting their training towards what they need is that there's actually, and I'm talking about the kind of intermediate to advanced field of CrossFit athletes, um, going towards the top as well now. There's a huge lack of general physical preparedness amongst CrossFit athletes. And that is, I don't think it's an overstep in terms of a statement, um, at least not from the pool of athletes that I've been able to test, right? And it's always relative to what you see and what data you can collect and the demographic that you get to work with. So if you have a different opinion, drop me a comment, or if you see the same thing in what you're doing or from your perspective, let me know as well in the comments below. Like I've said before, the YouTube algorithm enjoys comments on videos. It shows the algorithm that you enjoy the content. So if you do, please drop me one below this video and let me know what you think. So yeah, big lack of general physical preparedness. And with that, well, then do we have to go necessarily to find a specific means of testing or specific modality to test the athlete? Or given that they lack so much general physical preparedness, can we just use a very general form of testing and then conditioning as well in the form of the bike to train those athletes? And that's actually what I found with quite some success, is that CrossFitters in general will greatly benefit from testing and training on the bike simply because they rarely use it, right? The argument is usually goes something like, well, you usually see rowing more in CrossFit competitions, so it makes sense to use the rower as a training modality for CrossFitters and for testing and training. But again, just because you use it a lot in competition doesn't mean that that's what you need to use when you're training, right? And if all you do is row all the time and you never bike, well, the other thing that I see is when you use a full body movement like rowing or the different fan bikes, the assault air bike, now the echo bike is used more and more. The issue with those is that they're good tools to test on the competition floor or in the gym, but then there's such a cardiovascular demand given the muscle mass um, that is required to complete those movements, that, well, you're never able to actually isolate the lower body, the musculature, the metabolic side, at least not as well from what I've found, as what you can do with a bike. And so in that way, testing CrossFit athletes on a bike makes a ton of sense because it's general, right? So I don't pretend that my testing is specific to CrossFitters. It's not. It's a general conditioning test, which is going to give you your status from a general physical preparedness, general conditioning standpoint, and then it's going to become a general means of training. And that general competency and physical and athletic qualities you're going to develop through those general means will inevitably, since they're general, have a transfer to your sport specific training and allow you to do more of your sport and tolerate more intensity and develop more intensity in your sport. I think that's where the disconnect is at the moment, is that we always think specificity and transfer, and we think that something needs to be ultra specific to transfer, but actually general transfers the most because it transfers to everything. Hence the general testing and the general training that I tend to prescribe nowadays with most of the CrossFit athletes that I test. So let me know what you think in the comments below. Does that make sense to you? Does it not? Have you seen otherwise? Like I said, that's just my state of mind currently. Those thoughts of the day are not necessarily scripted and rehearsed. They're really just off the cuff. But I think it's interesting to share thoughts. And the few of you that have been following me in English have been quite good about posting comments and giving your thoughts. So I'm looking forward to hearing what you think. And like I said, I'm going to make an effort to post more videos in English as we go along in the following days, weeks, and months. That's my goal for the channel here in the coming times. So drop me a comment, leave me a like, make sure you subscribe to the channel so you see the next videos that drop. And I guess I'll see you in the next video.